So we are super excited that you're here, and this is a long time coming. We have been working on this high school equivalency alternative path, so to speak, for a very long time. It was pretty much approved since 2014. And we had a committee. It was conceived here at Johnston Community College. In fact, President Johnston pretty much had the idea and then moved forward with it. So we are excited that we are now at this point where we have good standardized practices, a policy manual. We also have ways in which we can document this high school equivalency. Before, when we first started, we didn't have that. So there's just been a lot of changes here. I think one of the key things that we did here was to actually say that we needed somebody on the ground, in the field, kind of helping guide this. And so we're really fortunate. We've had the first one was Sandra Thompson, and she pretty much was our on the ground person, but then we poached her and got her here at the system office. And then we have, of course, Penny Wacaster, and she has been our, what we call the person on the ground in the field, and is able to really understand some of the the nuances that you might have running this in your program. So she was really helpful in informing kind of to take us to the next level. And I think the most important thing is that we have also Diploma Sender, which all of you are familiar with, our document fulfillment service, on the line here. And I'm going to let Penny take it away, and Jen, she is our system office liaison here. She's the one that kind of coordinates it and keeps us all kind of together. And again, with her being here at the system, we've been able to really move this to a whole nother level where we are now ready to present this. And hopefully all of you will have students that can take advantage of this alternative. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Jen, and then she can introduce everyone else. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you so much, Gilda. Good afternoon. Glad to see so many folks on this call. I'm so excited to talk with you guys about multiple pathways to high school equivalency. I do want to real briefly mention the other individuals who will be talking to you today before we pull up our slides and go over the objectives for our session. So, of course, we just heard from Gilda Rubio-Festa, who is our Director for Title II Programming here at the System Office. The others who will be speaking with you today are Penny Wacaster, whom Gilda, I have to echo Gilda's great thanks to Penny. Penny is our boots on the ground, so to speak. Sorry, I come from a military town. Got to say boots on the ground. She's our boots on the ground for multiple pathways to high school equivalency. She will be the first contact for those who are submitting students to complete this program. We are also going to hear today from Jill Story from Davidson Davie Community College. Davidson Davie has had some great success with multiple pathways students, and she's going to talk with us a little bit about some of those identifying factors, those kind of day-to-day things that we are looking for when we're considering candidates for multiple pathways. And we are also going to hear today from Abigail Huey and Haley Martinson, who are our two representatives from Diploma Sender. They're going to do a demonstration to show how to submit those candidates for multiple pathways consideration. So with that, Matthew, if you could please bring up the slides. We'll go ahead and get started with the presentation at this point. So of course, this is a discussion of multiple pathways to high school equivalency. If Matthew, if you don't mind going to the next slide from here, please. Thank you. So before we take it over to Penny, want to discuss the objectives for today's session. This is what you can expect for us to discuss today. First of all, we are introducing, or in some cases reintroducing, multiple pathways to high school equivalency to all of our community colleges across the state, the Great 58. We are providing some guidance on determining if a student is a multiple pathways candidate. We want you to know who your potential students are who would be a good fit for this programming. We want to explain the steps to document, get approval, and submit a student as a multiple pathways candidate. And we are going to discuss the final approval process to gain a high school equivalency diploma for that student. So we want to take you through this process from beginning to end. Matthew, next slide, please. All right. One of the excellent things about multiple pathways, and in a moment here, I'm going to send it over to Penny to give a little bit more information about this. We have an advisory board that serves our the multiple pathways programming. These are the folks who helped to develop the implementation guide, which hopefully everybody had a chance to read beforehand. If not, not to fear, we can definitely send that link out again for the multiple pathways implementation guide. But and they assist with any policy or any other decisions that need to be made for multiple pathways. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and give it over to Penny so that she can talk a little bit more about our advisory board.
Thank you. Just to let you know, these are the current members or previous members. As the representative, I am the chair for this advisory board, and we will be adding to or replacing some folks that have left their positions, but these folks have put many, many, many hours into this process, and make sure you thank them for this opportunity. You can go to the next slide. And I'll apologize now. If my camera goes wonky, I'm going to turn it off because I'm a little electric today and it's going a little crazy. Just a little bit about the background. MPHSE Diploma program is a standardized performance assessing for the completion of the high school equivalency diploma. We are not the only state that has something similar to this. There are 6 or 7 other states that we know of. I can't name them. Diploma Center will be able to name them, but we're not the only ones that have this. The formalized system provides students with a clear and flexible conduit by combining multiple sources of competencies. We'll talk about this a little bit in a minute. The student is required to demonstrate high school level competencies in 5 selected content areas, which we'll name in just a minute. After completion of all the requirements, an HSE diploma will be awarded through the North Carolina State Board of Community Colleges. And next slide there, thank you. So we have the areas of content areas that we want to look at are English, language arts, or literacy. This does include reading and writing, mathematics, science, social studies, and the 4 content areas are what were required, and we decided as a state to add technology because we feel that that's so important. So that is the 5th area. So to determine credit from MPHSE, you can use high school courses, adult high school courses, high school equivalency assessments, that is the GED, the HiSET, and TASC, BSP transition courses, and North Star certifications. So in order to determine if you have a candidate, you'll need to evaluate all transcripts, and these need to be official transcripts from the high school or adult high school. You need to look at HSE test results, BSP course credits, and North Star credentials. For the HSE test results, it just needs to be the minimum. So for HiSET, that is an 8 is a minimum. I know a lot of people think that 9 is the minimum, but it is actually 8. For the writing test, it's a 2. For TASC, it's 500. I'll look at my notes. And the writing is a 2 out of 8. And for GED, it's 145 because the writing and the reading is combined there. You will take all of your credits that you've combined, that you find for your candidate, and you'll put them on a worksheet. And we're going to show you what a worksheet looks like in just a second. High school and adult high school grades of C or better are currently what's being accepted. Several of you asked me why high school grades of D or better are not accepted. We are looking at that, but currently the guidelines do state a C or better. BSP course results and grades, high school equivalency results, just like I said, those must be the passing score, the current passing score for those tests, and North Star credentials of 85% or higher. Now for the BSP courses, I want to say, if you'll look at your guidelines, in the back of your guidelines, there are some, it lists all of the courses and what must be obtained to consider it to be a credit. So make sure you look at that, okay? You will transfer all the credits for all content areas to the documentation summary authorization. It's a DSA form. It's a 2-page form. On the front, you will see it show you an example. It has a place to put all of the information and all of your grades that you're counting. And then there's the second page is just signatures. The DSA form must be completed by the transcript evaluator. And I don't know about your community college, but I don't have a transcript evaluator, but we're a small school. But this would be someone like a coordinator. You may have a transcript evaluator, someone who does intake. It would not be an instructor. It was someone a little bit higher level than that. If you have a CCR director, but then you have a dean over that, or if you have, if you have a director and then someone above you is actually your Title II person, then that person can be the evaluator. It could be different people, okay? Typically is not an instructor though. The DSA form is then verified and approved by the CCR chief administrator. And this person is the person who I look at the contact list. So that's the person on the contact list for your program. So it's changing. There's so many folks who have changed in the system. I just look to see who the current person is, and that is who signs that. If when that person signs, you have said that you have checked and verified everything that's on the form, on the DSA form, and you agree that it is correct and can be used for credit. Once you do that, then you will submit that signed form that signed by both the transcript evaluator and the CCRCA to me via email, and I will look over it. I will give you feedback if I need some corrections, and then I will sign it and submit it back to you. Before we leave this slide, I want to make sure that everyone knows that for MPHSE graduates, you must save all this documentation, just like they're an adult high school graduate, if you have adult high school. So you need to make sure that everything that you use to verify a credit is saved with your program and in a file. How you choose to do that is your own. That's your own, but we actually put it in our student files here at McDowell Tech, and then we have another file so I can kind of keep track of everyone. After evaluation, I will send the signed form back to the CCR chief administrator or designate to be uploaded in Diploma Center. And that's, you must upload the signed form that I send back to you. It can't just be the original form or anything like that. It has to be the form that I send back. The CCR will create an account. The CCR's chief administrator will create an account in the Diploma Center for that candidate and upload the approved DSA form. And we're going to show you how to do, I'm not going to show you, Diploma Center is going to show you how to do that in a few minutes, because there have been questions and I just want you to see firsthand how to do that. I will approve the diploma within 2 weeks. However, in most cases, I do it within a day or two. I am pretty good about doing that right away because I want you to get your graduates, and I want you to have sometimes it's job dependent. Your graduate needs that diploma and they need to show they've proven it to have a job or something like that. If you need something expedited, all it takes is just sending me an email. It's better to email me, but send me an email and make sure I know, hey, I need this done really quickly, and I will do it as fast as possible. All right, so this is, if you go back to the one right before that, Matthew. the slide there, back up one. Nope. Forward one. There was another one in there, I thought. Was there? Oh, there it is. Okay. Thank you. So this is what a worksheet looks like. You will transfer all the credits onto the worksheet, and then I'm sorry, this is the DSA form. The transcript evaluator, the coordinator, the whoever is filling that out will actually fill this portion out. Please put your college. You can type these in. There should be a Word version out on the North Carolina Community College website. But handwritten is fine as well. Put your name of the student. If you handwrite, please print legibly. Colleague ID number for now, this may change when everyone goes to advances. I don't know. We'll talk about that at some point. The birth date, please do not put the full birth date or the full Social Security number on these forms, because we cannot keep that confidential. We're emailing these. And so just put the day and the month and X out the rest and the last four of the social to do that. The mailing address, this is your student's mailing address, their cell number or home number. And for the email, please make sure that you're not using a school email for this, that is a personal email, because they'll need to have access to this email account to get their documentation later on. And if it's like my school, we sometimes shut down those school accounts. So you go to the next slide. Okay, look, one up. Thank you. So this is what a documentation summary would look like if you're counting a GED for their English language and literacy. So 148 is the passing. For HiSET, you will need to put 2 entries here. You'll need to put the reading and then the writing. You would say HiSET reading, HiSET writing, and their scores for those, and the final date awarded. This is one thing that a lot of people forget to do. They forget to put the final date awarded, and you can get that out of Diploma Center for these HSE testing. For mathematics, just to make this different, the person, which we see very often, barely passed their HiSET. So they got an 8, that is passing, and put the final date awarded. For their science, we just showed an example of combining high school and adult high school, HiSET for social studies. And then for the technology, this is another common mistake, is that you need to put every technology area that's required. It is on the multiple pathways guidelines. You put everyone and their score for everyone, because you have to have an 85 or better, and also put the date completed. So if you want one of these that has all of these typed in, contact me, because I've made one for myself, and I'll be happy to share that with you. You go to next. Okay, so this is just a signature page. Please print and sign. These can be wet signatures or electronic signatures, but it must be done by the person who's signing it. Please don't fill in someone else's signature. So you would submit the transcript evaluator and the CCR chief administrator copy to me, and then I would sign it and send that back to you, and that's what you would upload. And okay, so I'm not sure, Jennifer, when you'd like to do questions. Would you like to do some at the end, or I turned my video off, but I'm So I'll turn it back on and see if I'm not wonky.
I think, yeah, if we want to stop maybe at each section and see if we can grab questions. I was looking in the chat while you were speaking. Rachel Clark had a question. It looks like Abigail from Diploma Center has been assisting her with that, but I'll go ahead and read the question aloud just in case anyone else has it.
Okay.
Rachel asked if the multiple pathways graduate already passed GED tests, we should not create a new Diploma Center account and should use the existing Diploma Center account with the existing GED tests, right? And then Abigail answered, hey, Rachel, good question. The system will auto merge if there is an existing tester. And it sounds like there's some conversation going on around that auto merge function. So it sounds like if a student, and Abigail, please correct me if I'm wrong, but if a tester or student already has a Diploma Center account, they do not need to create a new one after their multiple pathway credential is completed. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. Yep.
Great, thank you, thank you. Just want to make sure that I'm encapsulating your response correctly.
Sorry about the confusion with that if I spoke and confused you, but no, you can use the same account.
Great. And then there are two folks in the chat have asked for copies of the document of the DSA form with those North Star exams or assessments specified. So just some folks in the chat are asking for that. Penny, do you want to put it together like a follow-up email after this call with those documents? I think that might be a good way to.
That might be it better. I'm not always good at answering chats and stuff. So we'll send it out with these slides. We can also send out so you can have it in writing. Similar slides are also available on the community college website. You just have to search MPHSE and you can find it. But
I can include that link in any follow-up messages as well. Mm-hmm. So we will we'll get as much of those documents and such to you with follow-up, and hopefully that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
If there are no other questions, and I'm going to just look at the chat here to make sure I'm not missing anybody. If there's no other questions, oh, I'm sorry, Melissa Hinkle asks, just to clarify, is the technology component required for all multiple pathways diplomas? For example, they pass GED and HiSET subtests that would normally fulfill the requirement. So Melissa, for multiple pathways, yes, the technology component is required. That is something that was determined when the guidelines are being put together for multiple pathways as an essential skill for folks in pursuing this credential. Thanks for asking, though. Just want to make sure we clarify. All right. I'll hang here for another moment to see if we have any questions. And if not, Penny, I think we're going to hand it over to Jill Story to talk a little bit about some of those identifying factors for multiple pathway candidates.
And before Jill, before we go to Diploma Center, after Jill, I want to just talk about a few examples I've seen, if Jill doesn't mention them, of how people have been very creative, but you're within the guidelines of to get some candidates.
Great, great. And also before we move on to Jill, Abigail has placed Diploma Center's email address in the chat. My folks who attend the High School Equivalency monthly calls, we give this email address out there, but the more we can have it, the better. So Abigail, thank you for putting your email address in the chat. Appreciate that. All right.
Well, good afternoon. I hope everybody's doing well. We all have students who just, for some reason, are having trouble to finish either the HiSET or the GED just encapsulated in itself. So this is a fabulous way to put all kinds of things together. And I know they said that, you know, we did that, and I'll mention some of those in just a second. But what you want to do is you're going to have to look at each student individually, because you're going to see what they bring to you. If you feel like you can ask them the question, did you, how far did you go in high school? Are there any of those courses that you can bring forward? We found that some students can work through an adult high school course, but are having a difficult time passing a reading or writing GED or HiSET test. They can take things more in little pieces. So that is one of the things that we look for is their transcript to see what they bring into us. We've all had those students that have been enrolled with us for a long, long time. I had a student that had been here for 9 years, and what she wanted to do more than anything else, it was to get her diploma and sit on her porch and rock her grandkids and know that there was a diploma hanging on her wall. Well, she just had a difficult time getting all the points that she needed. Well, when you only have to have an 8 to pass, she couldn't get to the 45. So what we did, we were creative. We did some adult high school courses with her. We did took what courses that, or what high set tests that she had done with an 8, put them together, and she proudly walked across the stage. So we were really excited about that. We have another student that came to us from a school back when we had tasks, and she had 2 tests with tasks. And of course, we have it no more. So, but I said, but we can still use them. And we put those through, and she did everything that she needed to do and was a graduate. Her task exams were not lost in that. So that was a real blessing to her that she had those scores, and we could use them in this multiple pathways. Make sure that you have a talk with the students and have the teachers too, to talk with your instructors to make sure that they know what to look for. If you've got a struggling student that they've taken the high set, say 2 or 3 times, and they're just having trouble, then look to see if this might not be a better way. Look and see what you have, get the worksheet, put what you have on there, see what you have to do to get there. And a lot of times students think that that's a more workable way to go instead of strictly taking the test. So that's the best thing to do there. We have students that do well in the class, but just do not take a test well. And this is a way that you can do that. You can use adult high school credits, you can use their high school credits, and merge those all together, and it really makes a difference with that. The main thing I think you need to look at are those students that come in and just hit those roadblocks. And there's some reason that they're just not getting to where they need to be. That's the perfect time to work with them and see if this is a better way to go. You know, we all have students that come in and they go in and they take the test and they're done in no time. But then we have those others that just can't get over that. There's a barrier there for them, whether it's test taking anxiety or something else. I mean, it's just all kinds of things you need to look at, but really mainly look for the students who have been there a long time. Really, you can look at the students that come in. If they come in and they have their English credits and their math and science, or maybe no social studies, and they really don't want to go through adult high school. Now, I'm very careful if they're really close in adult high school to push them on to adult high school, because I think, you know, that's the better way for them to do. But this is an option if they want to go high school equivalency. And then anybody that's struggling, if you've got those that just do not have the 45, they have 8s and 8s and 8s and 8s and 8s. I was so happy one time in the fall, we had a student for years that had been trying to pass, and she just could not make that one extra point. That's all she needed. She had 44. And so I called the director and I said, we got it. Start North Star. We'll get it done. And North Star is a great program. The students usually do well. You have a digital literacy class, you could do it through that, or, you know, you can just test them. If they're not doing well, make them be 85. You can put them in the class there to help them along. But it's a great program that you will have to get the transcripts and keep those and make sure that you're looking to see what's the best path for your students. And what I do when I get a graduate, I've got in one filing cabinet, I keep all of those, and I have all the documentation, and then I run off the email from Diploma Center that says they're a graduate. So everything is there together. So if an audit comes around, I know exactly what everything multiple pathways is, and we'll just pull them from there. So that way you have all of your documentation, all of your worksheets, and the confirmation from Diploma Center that says they're a graduate.
Thank you, Jill. Appreciate that. As she mentioned, one of the unique cases that she had a student who made 8 on all her high set tests. And as you know, you have to have a total of 45. That's why a lot of people think 9 is the minimum, but it's not. You can, make different numbers and make up to the 45. But she just did North Star, which is one of the technology credits for that. I know I've seen a couple, I haven't looked at the chat, but I saw a couple things pop up about the technology credit, and only adult high school technology credits count. High school do not. But you can also use the BSP 4010 or the 4011, those transition courses, those do count. And North Star, and there's only the first 6 assessments. So North Star has a lot of assessments, but it's only the first 6. And typically, if a student is computer savvy at all, they can pass those pretty easily. There's lessons for all of those. I've seen many candidates that have come from other states and they have the task. I've seen task, high set, and GED all on the same documentation summary form. So you can combine all of those. And that's what I think is really unique. I mentioned that McDowell Tech is a small program. My chief examiner just went through some of our students recently, and we identified about 13 that we could potentially do MPHSE with, or are very close to graduating. So I would suggest looking at some people who are struggling. Here at McDowell Tech, we have one person who has passed all of her high set except math. She cannot take that comprehensive math. So we're breaking it down for her, and we're doing math 1, math 2, math 3, and math 4 for her, so she can get that, and she'll do her North Star when she's finished. So just be creative. Get to know the guidelines and see what can be counted, and just start putting it down on paper and start evaluating it. So, and Jill's a great example of, she does that. Davidson Davy has probably more than half of our graduates for multiple pathways, because they look at everybody, and I think it's a great way to do it.
And I will say too, Penny, that when you get your account with Diploma Center, when you're getting ready to put in there, they are very good to send you an email that says your time is running out, that you need to log back in, so you don't have to do anything. Because Abigail knows that she's had to reset me a couple of times back before they started sending that email. So that's really good that because is it 45 days, Abigail?
Yes, 45. Yep.
You're in there for 45 days, and so that comes quickly. And so they send an email, and you just log back in, and you're back in business there. So that is a great help from Diploma Center for them to do that, and we appreciate that. But I will be happy if anybody ever has any questions. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk to you.
Thank you. I think we're ready for the next slide, and I believe Diploma Center may be up next. So we're going to give them control, and they're going to demonstrate how to upload or information.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, hi, everybody. I'm Abigail. Sometimes you send an email to governmentsupport@diplomacenter.com, and you'll get a response from myself or from Haley, who will wave to you right now. But Allie, who was our other counterpart for government support, just had the cutest little baby, Maisie. She's so sweet. So if I could, I'd share you a picture with her. But anyway, so Allie's on maternity leave. And in Allie's place, we threw IT on the call. So Forrest is here as well, which is super helpful for us since we are an actual data management company. So Forrest and I are here, as well as Haley. And we just wanted to say thank you. We're just so glad that we get to present and share the fun part about our job, which is creating credentials for individuals across your state and across all of our I think we're up to 18 partner states, which is exciting for Diploma Center. I'll try to be short and sweet and let you know that the email address when you have follow-up questions, because I'm going to cover a lot of stuff in a little bit of time, feel free to shoot us an email, governmentsupport@diplomacenter.com. And we'll do our best to either follow up with a Zoom call so we can see your screen, because it's really helpful for us to communicate securely and see your screen and see what you're working through. Yesterday, I think I talked to, is it Patrick? Is he on the call? We talked for like what started to be 5 minutes and the conversation just evolved. So it was a lot of information covered. So I say start with an email and then evolve it to a Zoom call or a phone call or whatever works best for you. So today I just want to review the process for what it looks like for you as the director of your school to add a constituent, a tester, the person that's working the hardest to get added to the database. It's pretty simple. It starts with creating and registering through Diploma Center. All of our government accounts are reviewed before they're approved. So your account has to get reviewed by state administration. Once they give the thumbs up, you are in, which is exciting. So once your account's good to go, you're going to go to your login screen. I'm going to show you the process after you log in. So I have this here. Once you log in, you're brought to a page called My Test Centers. So be sure you add your test centers to your registration if you haven't already done that. We need the publisher's ID number, which looks like this number. Don't get dizzy. I'm going to zoom in. This is the type of number we're looking for. With that number, a whole field of opportunities awaits you. It's really exciting. But most importantly, what you're able to do is search for test takers that are assigned to your test center. And number two, you can run reports from data in real time, which is what a lot of you are looking for right now. So be conscious of that. Just when you're registering, add your test center ID number to your registration. Okay, that was my sidebar for today. Next up, once you're logged in, there's a blue bar at the top of your screen. You're going to go over to admins up here and then zoom in. You're going to click admins and it's going to give you one option. Ta-da, click here. All right, so what I could do is bore you all by having you watch me fill out this entire all these fields, and I'm not going to. What I am going to do is click add at the top. And what add is going to show you is that through each one of these red boxes are required information. So in order to add this constituent to even become part of our database, we're going to need every piece of this information. So you'll see the official records at the top. And then underneath official record is academic record. And then we have our contact information. And at the very bottom, you'll see data points. So there's basically 4 categories of information that we're looking for. Pretty simple. This was all created based off of this sheet, I believe, right here, kind of this information. I did redact some information for privacy purposes, but when Diploma Center collaborated to create this page, this is what we pulled the information from. So it should be pretty easy to fill out. You will need full social security number. That question came up yesterday when I was talking with Patrick. So you will need the full social security number to add the individual to the database. Be sure you do add your community college so we can report the data correctly. And at the very bottom, you'll notice that it says choose file. So you're just going to click choose file and it's going to be this exact document that you've uploaded. So this will be a permanent part of the test taker's record and Diploma Center. It becomes a part of their academic record. So the tester can eventually review this document if they want to, but you can as well. So you'll be able to see this document forever and ever in their Diploma Center account. And the checkboxes, zooming in. So just make sure you click summary authorization and documentation of credit. Pretty simple. Click those boxes. And then it gets added to the database where it gets reviewed. So it takes one stop before the tester gets credentialed, and that's where it goes for Penny to review. So Penny gets a notification of on her account that says, hey, there are some people to review for this pathway program. Check it out. So she'll review it. And after listening to the conversation here, she's already reviewed it. Basically, now she's just ensuring that they're good to go for a credential. Once Penny says approve, the test taker will get an email that says this, congratulations. I think if we could insert confetti here, we would, because it's really exciting. So we sent an email And this tells the test taker, you've credentialed, so you're awesome. And 2, we have some complimentary documents waiting for you. So go ahead and create an account with Diploma Sender, log in, and then you can access your documents. Once the test taker, switching gears, no longer the administrator or Penny, now you're the test taker. So the test taker logs into Diploma Sender and they can order their complimentary diploma and transcript, and they can have it sent for free, whether it's through the snail mail, the USPS, or they can also have their official documents emailed to them. So that's totally up to the test taker, but the first set is complimentary. So I'm going to go back to my little list here. We went over logging in, what that looks like, making sure you're adding all the required fields. And then through the state administration, it gets reviewed, approved, and then the test taker gets that email. So that's the short and sweet of it. I will send this checklist out. I believe it has been before, but there may be some new people on this call that might benefit from just reviewing the process so you feel better about what you're doing before you do it. And I will say this, if it's your first time adding someone to the database and you're a little bit like uneasy about it, it's a great reason to give us a call. We'll sit with you. It's not babysitting, but kind of feels that way probably for you, but we're just here to make sure that you feel confident about what you're doing. But the system is pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Foolproof. We've created it so you can't really mess anything up. So if you do have questions or if you do want some support, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're literally here for you, which is awesome. So I think that's my spiel, unless I forgot something or there's a big question out there.
I will say that on occasion, people will upload or create several documents or accounts and upload their documentation a few times. If you question whether or not they get uploaded, just shoot me an email and I can look to see if it's ready. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to have to deny my video going crazy again. Going to have to deny those that you upload, and I'll just accept the last one if it's correct. That's my only addition there, Abigail. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Can I ask a question about Diploma Sender in general? I have created my account back in October when HiSET was transitioning to PSI, but I still don't have a test center associated with my account, and I don't see a way to add it. Like I'm the chief examiner, but it doesn't recognize that I'm the test administrator for Stanley Community College.
So it's a manual add. So if you could send me an email, that I will help you get that situated and add that test center to your account.
Okay. And have you put your email in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. Doing it now.
Thank you.
Sure.
Well, I think we've had everyone who is going to present new information to do so. With that, I'm going to go into the chat. We are going to pick up some questions. First of all, Abigail and Haley and Forrest from Diploma Center, we are so grateful that you came on our call today. So thank you for presenting that information for us. We are really always glad to see a demonstration of what we need to do. My folks in here who've taught, we like to see it modeled for us. So thank you so much. All right, I'm going to go into the chat now and start grabbing some questions. Between myself, Abigail, and Penny, we should be able to answer these. And if we can't, I'll make a note of it so that we can answer it later on after we do some research. So I believe the last, let me see, Rachel Clark's, we answered her question. I'm going back to Amanda McLean. Will high school technology courses be considered in the future? So I think this is going back to our discussion on technology credits being accepted for Diploma Center. Penny, is this something that is potentially under consideration, or?
We can always talk about it with an advisory committee. I'll make a note of it. It's a good question. I wasn't part of the advisory committee when those decisions were made, but I would definitely look into it.
Absolutely. I think any of these questions, if the multiple pathways would consider, X, Y, and Z considerations for future acceptance, let either me or Penny know. This is something we can always discuss for future consideration. So just send an email to either me or to Penny And I will have my email address in the chat. I'll put it in toward the end of our time together, just so it'll be right there at the end. Similar question from Judy McGuire: is accepting grades of D on high school transcripts being considered? So Judy, same thing, something we can definitely consider and discuss. That would be something we would need to discuss with the MPHSE board. Cheryl Brown asks, we can list multiple test site IDs. Abigail, I think this is a Diploma Center question. Can individuals list multiple test site IDs under their account?
Yes, there are different types of accounts for different type of site IDs for different publishers. So if you want a comprehensive look, you could even go back into way back when with Task, and if you had your Task ID, we still have it in our database. You don't really necessarily need it for your current reporting, especially if it's over the last year, but we will add HiSET and GED's ID numbers for you. Just send them to us and we will add them.
Great, thank you, Abigail. All right, Penny Schoon asks, would you, and Schoon, I do apologize if I mispronounced your last name, I'm sorry, asks, would you please clarify what the quote first 6 sections are, the required sections for North Star? I believe Penny had that up on the screen a little earlier when she was showing the DSA. That will be, Penny, do you happen to have that available just to
I
name them off?
do. Okay. Also, just to let you know, it's on page 8 of the multiple pathways guidelines. Before it's the last section, it tells you these. I apologize for my video. I pull this up every single time I approve someone, so I make sure I'm not making a mistake. But those are basic computing skills, internet basics, using email, Microsoft Word, social media, and information technology. Thank you for bringing that up, Matthew.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew.
Those are the only 6 that are required.
Thank you so much. So Penny, I hope Penny answered your question. So let's see, let me get back to the chat here. Rebecca Lawley asks, what if the student does not have a social security number? So Penny or Abigail, what would we need to do for that? Or should maybe we have an email sent on a case-by-case basis if this is something that occurs?
So I don't know if this is going to help anybody, but I will give some background that the social security number was a required field from North Carolina when this was built. And so we don't have a way of not adding a test taker without a social security number.
And I believe that's mostly for data matching purposes, so that we can match data for WIOA for Title II reporting. So Rebecca, let's see if we can take that one on a case-by-case basis. We can definitely look at individual situations. Crystal Jones asks, for adding to Diploma Sender, we add even if the test taker already has a Diploma Sender account. Is this where the accounts are merged by Diploma Sender? Abigail, can you confirm that, please?
And can I read that and listen to you? Sorry, where was that?
Sure. So this is a question from Crystal Jones, 2:45 p.m. For adding to Diploma Sender, we add even if the test taker already has a Diploma Sender account. Is this where the accounts are merged by DS?
I don't see that question. Sorry. Yes. So we will I'm going to answer this from the most simplest version. Diploma Sender will data match behind the scenes and merge the testers. And if it's not automatic, it will happen typically overnight. So if it's not automatically merged, I don't know, for us within 24 hours, then reach out to us. Yeah. But it should, based off of how smart our code is, it matches up 4 key pieces of information: your first name, your last name, your date of birth, and your social security number. And we can typically find those instantaneously and match them. But if we can't, we do have the process in place that will manually review them.
Great.
Does that help you? Yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
Okay, good.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Abigail. All right. Just going through the chat now. Abigail put her email address in there. So we've got both the government support and then Abigail's email address. They're both in the chat. So please feel free to grab those as you need to. Andrea Reynolds just says to Diploma Center, it's nice to see y'all are real humans. Yes, they are very real humans. We appreciate them. I talk to Abigail every couple weeks just to make sure everything is good. And Haley and Forrest have also been on conversations with, so they are indeed real human beings. Amanda McLean says, thank you. Some of those high school courses are pretty rich. I think that was going back to our discussion on high school technology credits. And again, that is something we are happy to consider for the future. April Root says, I was once part of the advisor committee and would like to join again. How do we submit a request to join? Penny would be the best way for somebody to be considered for advisory committee if that's something that they would like to participate in.
I made a note of that, April. We will be looking at the advisory committee because a lot of folks are transitioning off of that because they've served their amount of time. So I know that in the past that it has been the wish of the system office to have representatives from all different sizes of schools and from different areas in the state. So we'll look at that and see the type of school and size and things we need, but I've got you down as a.
Thanks, Penny. So April, thank you for mentioning that in the chat here. All right, from Crystal Jones, Penny, when you went through and noticed all those who might be eligible for multiple pathways, do you automatically request high school transcripts for each student to already have those on file to use for multiple pathways if needed? So Penny, what's a good practice for that?
If they have a transcript available, we do ask for it just so we can see if they have anything. It's not always the case because a lot of students will actually drop out of school or stop like in a 10th grade year, 11th grade year. So that means sometimes they're missing the last math or English or something like that. But we request them for anyone we're considering.
Great, thank you, Penny. All right, next question comes from Karen Neal. What does it like for documenting this outcome on advances? And I thank you for saying that because I do want to mention how these graduates are entered in our data collection systems. For our folks who are still on colleague and will be for the next couple months, we do have a document. I will send it with the follow-up notes. A document that has some information about how to enter your multiple pathways graduates into colleague. For Advances, we are very excited to say this. Jessica Rieger, who is heading up our Advances implementation here at the system office, gave me the okay to say this. So I'm excited to say it. Very soon, we will start to receive automatic imports from Diploma Center to Advances. That includes our multiple pathways graduates. So whenever our data refresh daily between Advances and Diploma Center, those multiple pathways graduates, that data will be uploaded automatically into Advances. And of course, everybody should be, where the target is everybody's going to be in Advances by the end of this program year. So that should be a very good way to make sure that we have those graduates documented. All right. So again, Jessica gave me the okay to say that. So my thanks to Jessica and Advances and Diploma Center and all the folks on those teams who are making this happen. My great thanks to those. Rachel Clark, sometimes students don't type in their social security number when creating their GED.com accounts, and that might be a potential root cause of the Diploma Center data merge not happening within 24 hours. That's a good consideration. Thank you for mentioning that, because yeah, we do need to make sure that those things are matching up within everybody's systems. I'm glad to see people are happy about the automatic data uploads between Advances and Diploma Center. We're really excited about that ourselves. And then Karen has a question for Diploma Center. So Abigail, I'll let you answer this one. Will multiple pathways appear in the reports feature for passers, incompletes, and non-passers?
So the
Those
short answer
PIN-
is,
those PIN reports.
short answer is, you would need to pull a report called PIN with PII to see the type of credential that's earned. And for users that have been approved to add multiple pathways to the database, you have access to that report. So the PIN report, I think is what you're referring to, PIN by age, PIN by county. That is not, that's more of a count, which might be helpful for you in a snapshot. But when you're looking for credentialers through the MPHSE program, you're going to want to download the PIN with PII report. And I don't have one in front of me right now, but I know off of memory that the very last column of that report will tell you credential type. And because the report downloads in a CSV format, you can sort by the last column to see the credentialers through that program.
Thank you, Abigail. So hopefully that'll be helpful for those of you who are getting the documentation of the data here. All right, got a question from Michelle Hall. Just to clarify, transition math P1, so that passing that first tier can count as an adult high school credit, but does not count for a math completion for multiple pathways. Penny, I do believe transition math and transition English count as for multiple pathways. Is that accurate?
But only for one math. So it counts as a math 4.
Yes. So
if you look on page 5 of your guidelines, I looked it up and I saw that come through too. It only counts as a math 4.
Okay. Thank you very much, Penny, for clarifying that. All right. And I hope that answers everybody's questions. We're just about at time and I'm not seeing any more questions come through. So if you do have further questions, please feel free to get in touch with me, with Penny. If they're Diploma Center related, with Diploma Center. I'm going to go ahead and put my email address in the chat. Okay, and I've got a little thing on the corner of my screen, so it's hiding. There we go, hiding my chat function. So this is my email. Penny has put her email address in the chat, and Abigail has put both her, she put both her email address and the government support email address for Diploma Center in the chat. And one last question, will this be sent out? So James, we are planning to do a follow-up message. Most likely we'll see if we can get that to our directors at the very least. So directors, please feel free to distribute those to anybody in your program. So your coordinators, your advisors, your data managers, anybody who would benefit from this. And the recording should be on the CCR page on the Community College System Office website momentarily. Well, not momentarily, not literally momentarily, but before too much longer. All right, it is 3 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and say thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank all of our presenters today. Thank you, Gilda. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Abigail, Haley, Jill, for discussing these items with us. We are so thankful you came today. Hopefully this was informative. And please feel free to reach out with any further information or questions that you might have about multiple pathways to high school equivalency. Thank you so much, everybody. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you. I just want to say real quick that I field questions about multiple pathways all the time. So please send your emails to me first, and I'll try to field any of those that you have, and I'll help you to think through it as well.
One last question, Jen. Do you have updates on the numbers we've had to date?
Oh, yes. So I will say I have January 2023. We had 3 multiple pathways graduates for the month of January 2023, which, you know, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when I pulled, I think I saw 8 for the year of 2022. I need to go back and check that, so please don't quote me on this. But from 8 for a full year to 3 in a month, I'd say is a pretty decent increase. So please keep them coming. We would love to continue to receive those. Patrick Klein just put one through today. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for that question, Gilda. We definitely are going to keep track. And for those of you guys who attend the monthly update office calls, I'll make sure to continue to put that as a data point every month for North Carolina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gilda. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention and your questions. And we'll see those multiple pathways graduates when they're ready. Thank you so much, guys.